incarnation. Yes. And some people will say, well, you constantly repeat that because you don't get it. That's why. For some reason or other, many of these people, due to personal ambition, don't have, listen carefully, Prabhus, the capacity to understand this. It's adulterated by their own motives, selfish motives. So that's Krishna consciousness. And we'll go ahead right now. I wanted to read something, Nilesh. I don't know if it's possible. And thank you for hosting the show today with us. I wanted to read a section from 25 in the Nectar of Devotion, in the introduction. I'll read it here. It's kind of a summary that Prabhupada gave us back then, who we are, what we're supposed to be when we're in this material world. So it's down at the bottom. It's of 25, XX5 in the introduction. Srila Rupa Goswami has also mentioned in this definition of bhakti the word jnana karmadi. This karmadi, fruit of work, consists of activities which are unable to help one attain to pure devotional service. Many forms of so-called renunciation are also not favorable to Krishna conscious devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami has also quoted a definition from the Narada Pancharatra as follows. Thank you. One should be free from all material designations and must be cleansed of all material contamination by Krishna consciousness. He should be restored to his pure identity, where he engages his senses in the service of the proprietor of the senses. So when our senses are engaged for the actual proprietor of the senses, that is called devotional service. In our conditioned state, our senses are engaged in serving these bodily demands. When the same senses are engaged in executing the order of Krishna, it is called bhakti. As long as one identifies himself as belonging to a certain family, a certain society, or a certain person, he is said to be covered with designations. When one is fully aware that he does not belong to any family, society, or country, but is eternally related to Krishna, he then realizes that his energy should be employed not in the interests of so-called family, society, or country, but in the interests of Krishna. This is purity of purpose and the pure platform of pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness. So very profound explanation of our identity as eternal servants of Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya. Nilesh, could we go to the diaries section? We'll read a short section from there this morning. We're in June 1966. Oh, there we go. If we can get it, that's good. Yeah, June. Thank you, brother. Very interesting.
What date?
June 1st, 66. We already read all these items about Prabhupada's struggle to establish the mission despite the people he was surrounded by. So many crazies. That's basically what it was. But he did everything he could to engage them. So on sunrise, 4:33 a.m., sunset was 7:22, moonset was 3:21. Trayodasi, today I went to Immigration and Naturalization Office. They gave me one extension up to the 17th of September 1966. July, August, and 17 days of September. I paid them $10. So he had no guarantee of being here after the 17th of September. I purchased Lao ores for 60 cents. Expenditure was $1.60. Mr. Goldsmith, lawyer, came to see me in connection with society. I gave him my suggestions. In the evening, there was a meeting. There were gatherings of about 16 heads, although Carl and Green did not come. Bob came with some flour and suji. I required some flour and Krishna sent it. There was a contribution of $12, an expenditure of $10.60. Nota bene, today's lecture was very interesting. Prabhupada's commenting. Must have had a nice group with him. Thursday, June 2nd, sunrise, 4:32 a.m., sunset, 7:23, moonset, 3:54. Chaturdasi, today I paid Paul $1.50 for expenses, always steady on paying his rent. And on accounts, books, $5, and a bank deposit of $20. On Friday, June 3rd, sunrise was 4:32 a.m., sunset 7:23 p.m., moonsets 4:32. Purnima. In the evening there was a class, and it was the best than all other previous classes. There was attendance of about 20, and the contribution was $19. So he's feeling some momentum, positive work going on. Saturday, June 4th, sunrise 4:32 a.m., sunset 7:24 p.m., moonrise 9:13, pratipad. Today I paid Paul $2 for expenses. In the Sanskrit class, the contribution was only $9. Amiki paid the balance for books $4. Income was $13. Expenditure was $2. Today the temperature was very warm. For the first time in America, I took bath in the evening. Sunday, June 5th. Sunrise was 4:32 a.m. Sunset 7:25 p.m. Moonrise 10:06. Dvicha. The whole day was very hot. There was no expenditure, neither any income. In the evening, Paul paid to Paul expenditure of $1. And on Monday, June 6th, 1966, everyone, sunrise was 4:32 a.m. Prabhupada's noted sunset was 7:25 and moonrise 10:49. Tritya, bank deposit $25, paper $1.57, bitter melon 30 cents. In the evening, there was a meeting. About more than 16 men and women attended. The meeting was interesting, but the collection was poor. Contribution only $9.50. Bank collection, Raphael, 3 taken, $4. Income $13.50. Expenditure $26.87. One gentleman has taken a set of books, so Prabhupada's busy with book distribution. Altogether 5 sets distributed out of 16. There's a balance now of 11 sets. So he's moving forward. And lastly, Tuesday, June 7th, sunrise was 4:31 a.m., sunset 7:26 p.m., moonrise 11:26, Chaturthi. Today in the morning, Paul was paid $1.35 plus $1 previous. I went to see Dr. Mishra and I dined with him. Expenditure was 30 cents. 2 dimes for a telephone call, 20 cents. Notice how Prabhupada is so meticulous in his spending of Lakshmi, not wastefully. This is something that a lot of devotees in this ISKCON group do not understand, and they spend money extremely frivolously. Total expenditure was $285. Bank deposit was $15, $17.85. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In his early years in New York City, spreading Krishna consciousness for the benefit of mankind. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our reading and discussion of Bhagavad-gītā As It Is with His Grace. And we're so fortunate, I feel so fortunate to have his association, and all of you should. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, our lecturer today. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajaga-ācārya Sattva Smāda Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Nāvācārya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsādhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए ऑल ग्लोरीज टू देयर स्पिरिट ऑल ग्लोरीज टू देयर स्पिरिट थैंक यू वेरी मच
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, two, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then four, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, and to honor Srila Prabhupada, we will read a few selected verses that Srila Prabhupada introduced early on in February of 1966 in New York, in the beginning of his Bhagavad-gītā. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anbitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita-charya, Gadada, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us proceed. Today we will be reading from chapter 11. I believe it is text number 55, which is a very long purport. We will read part of the purport today and part of the purport next week. It should be noted that this class is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan edition, the non-interpolated, non-edited, non-corrupted version of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text 55 or 54? 54? I receive a notice for text 55. A little further down. Mat karma krin mat paramo mat bhakta sangha varjitaha nirveraha sarva bhuteshu yah samam iti pandava. Mat karma krit, engage in doing my work. Mat paramaha, concerning me, the Supreme. Mat bhaktaha, engage in my devotional service. Sangha varjitaha, freed from the contamination of previous activities and mental speculation. Nirvairaha, without an enemy. Sarva bhuteshu, to every living entity. Yah, one who. Sa, he. Mam, unto me. Eti, comes. Pandava, O son of Pandu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Purport by His Divine Grace. Anyone who wants to approach the Supreme of all the personalities of Godhead on the Krishna Loka planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality, Krishna, must take this formula as is stated by the Supreme Himself. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-gītā. The Bhagavad-gītā is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature, and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad-gītā is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Spiritual Personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to Godhead. Now, here is the verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in his spiritual activity, devotional service. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna conscious activities. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be done for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all of this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna. And he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service, as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna karma. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna. One should also accept as prasadam, food, the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleansing the temple for Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. One can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land in India, at least any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. He can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important. And Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad-gītā. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf or a flower or a little water, and he is satisfied. This leaf especially refers to the tulasi. So one can sow tulasi leaves and pour water on the plant. Thus, even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples of how one can engage in working for Krishna. The word mat paramaha refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets, such as the moon or sun or heavenly planets, or even the highest planets of this universe, Brahmaloka. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even in the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with merging into the glowing effulgence, the glowing Brahmajyoti effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishna Loka, Goloka, Vrindavana. He has full knowledge of that planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. As indicated by the word Madbhaktaha, he fully engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with him, and surrendering everything to him. One can engage in all 9 devotional processes, or 8, or 7, or at least in 1. and that will surely make one perfect. The term Sangha Varjitaha is very significant. One should disassociate himself from persons who are against Krishna. Not only are deistic persons against Krishna, but also those who are attracted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. Therefore, the pure form of devotional service is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as follows: Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadyanavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anuchilanam Bhaktiruttama. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami clearly states that if anyone wants to execute unalloyed devotional service, he must be freed from all kinds of material contamination. He must be freed from the association of persons who are addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. When freed from such unwanted association and from the contamination of material desires, one favorably cultivates knowledge of Krishna. That is called pure devotional service. Anukulyena sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. One should think of Krishna and act for Krishna favorably, not unfavorably. Kamsa was enemy of Krishna's. From the very beginning of Krishna's birth, he planned in so many ways to kill him. And because he was always unsuccessful, he was always thinking of Krishna. Thus, while working, while eating, and while sleeping, it was always Krishna conscious in every respect. But that Krishna consciousness was not favorable. And therefore, in spite of his being always thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, he was considered a demon. And Krishna at last killed him. Of course, anyone who is killed by Krishna attains salvation immediately. But that is not the aim of the pure devotee. The pure devotee does not even want salvation. He does not want to be transferred even to the highest planet, Goloka Vrindavana. His only objective is to serve Krishna wherever he may be. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Miritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaham Namaum Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasmai Shigurave Namaha Bhagavad-vandanam kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadana-strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupapadam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Chadakaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In October of 1976 in Vrindavana, India, at the Krishna Balaram Temple, Srila Prabhupada made a very important statement in one of his lectures. Prabhupada said, our perfection is even if we understand one verse perfectly, even one line of the verse perfectly. In other words, Krishna consciousness, it is not necessarily to become a Sanskrit scholar or Bengali scholar. It is not necessary to be a big pundit. All it takes is sincerity to accept the instruction and guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. What is especially significant in this verse, Prabhupada says in the first paragraph, therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-gītā. The Bhagavad-gītā is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know of the real spiritual life. Now, this is a very important statement by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In other words, the Bhagavad-gītā has so many hundreds of verses, 700-800 verses. But of all these verses, the verse we are reading today, Prabhupada considered the essence of the whole Bhagavad-gītā. And what does Krishna say? My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Interestingly, in 1969 in Montreal, there was a devotee named Sripati. Sripati was an English devotee, and he was a wonderful devotee, great cook, one of the best mridanga player in the whole movement. He could lead wonderful kirtans. And one time he was explaining the relegative principles to me. And he says, when we speak of no gambling, that includes no mental speculation. In other words, because devotees may ask, well, what is no gambling? Devotees don't gamble. Yes, but mental speculation is as dangerous as gambling. Now, mental speculation means to basically invent new interpretations, to concoct new interpretations of the philosophy. In other words, what Sripati explained to me is says, whenever we have an issue, any point, we refer to the statements of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And this is a very important point. Very important point. Because as devotees and practitioners, sadhakas, those who are engaged in the practice of regulated devotional service, very nice. Thank you very much, Nilesh Prabhu. It says, mental speculation is the act of using imagination to explore the possibilities of an unknown or uncertain area. It can also involve reasoning about theoretical or problematic things. And we do know that Srila Prabhupada many times admonished devotees about mental speculation. Prabhupada used the word many times, whimsical. The term whimsical is used many times by Srila Prabhupada to describe activities which are not authorized in the process of devotional service. Now, there's a very famous lecture in 1972 where Prabhupada described a great institution was lost on account of whimsical ways, concocting, manufacturing different interpretations which have nothing to do with the actual intent of the order of the Acharya. We've often discussed the statements from the Chandogya Upanishad, which was quoted by Srila Prabhupada many times, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, that one who is a servant of the Acharya, who has accepted the Acharya, he knows things as they are. Prabhupada says he knows everything. In order to understand the source of everything, Krishna, in order to understand the proper process, the authorized process of bhakti, one has to accept the Acharya, not 5%, not just 10 or 15%, but 100%. Very nice. Here we have a quote from Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada explains, even though situated in a material body, one who is fully aware of the paths known as Pitrayana and Devayana, and who thus opens his eyes in terms of Vedic knowledge, is never bewildered in this material world. Prabhupada explains in the purport, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, one who is guided by the bona fide spiritual master, knows everything as stated in the Vedas, which set forth the standard of infallible knowledge. As recommended in Bhagavad-gītā, Acharyopasanam, one must approach the Acharya for real knowledge. Tadvigyanartam sagurumeva bigachet. One must approach the Acharya, for then one will receive perfect knowledge. When guided by the spiritual master, one attains the ultimate goal of life. Now, this is very important, because we have seen practically from a historical perspective that some persons think that they know better than the Acharya, that they can invent their own interpretations. They can manufacture their own understanding of spiritual life. And this was seen both in the post-1937 Gaudiya Math and the post-1907 GBC Math, the deviated ISKCON institution, where people started to concoct and manufacture different interpretations of Prabhupada's words without allowing open discussion, without revealing the actual direct statements of Srila Prabhupada. The Krishna Consciousness movement is not a Jim Jones type cult. How many times did Srila Prabhupada tell us that we should read his books and discuss everything from all angles of vision? Why did Srila Prabhupada say that? Srila Prabhupada was not interested in accumulating blind followers. No, that was not Prabhupada's intent. All the great acharyas, Madhvacharya, Ramanuja, Vedanta Desika, Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha, Raghavendra Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the six Goswamis, Baladev Vidyabhushana, Vijnana Chakrabarti, and thousands of other great Vaishnavas and acharyas. They've all written literatures. Why? They spent so much time writing so much literatures on the topic of bhakti, to avoid foolish sentimentality and crazy interpretations, to give proper guidance to the Acharya. In the Goswami Astakam of Srinivasacharya, there's a very nice verse which describes what the six Goswamis were doing. Nana Shastra Vicharaneka Nipuno Saddharma Samstapako. Nana Shastra means they analyze all the various scriptures, very carefully analyzed. Although they had no computers in these days, they had these palm leaf manuscripts. But these were devotional and intellectual giants from the spiritual world. They were not ordinary mortals like us. They had the power. They had the supreme power of analyzing the Shastra. Why? What were they doing? Saddharma samstapako. That means to establish. Here's the translation. The six Goswamis, under the direction of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, studied various Vedic literatures and picked up the essence of them, the devotional service of the Lord. This means that all of the Goswamis wrote many scriptures on devotional service with the support of the Vedic literature. Devotional service is not a sentimental activity. The essence of Vedic knowledge is devotional service, as confirmed in the Bhagavad-gītā. Bhagavad-gītā chapter 15, text 15. Vedeshta sarver ahamiva vidyaha. All the Vedic literature aims at understanding Krishna, and how to understand Krishna through devotional service has been explained by Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswami with evidence from all Vedic literatures. They have put it so nicely that even a rascal or first-class fool can be delivered by devotional service under the guidance of the Goswamis. Now, this is a very important verse. In the beginning in 1970, when their nectar devotion first came out, Prabhupada insisted in Los Angeles that all the devotees should listen to the nectar devotion every day for 1 hour. And before we had the class, devotees read that verse, Nana Shastra Vicharaneka Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako. So now it is up to us to go very deep in understanding the meaning of these verses. By the way, I'm very grateful to Nilesh Prabhu to very quickly provide the references when we're quoting verses. That is very kind of you and very nice. It's very informative to all the devotees. Because as students of Srila Prabhupada, I mean, just think how many verses Prabhupada has quoted, how many purports he's written. It's a lifetime, lifetimes plural of study of transcendental nectar. But it's up to develop a taste. To develop a taste to go very deep into these literatures. Interestingly, just the other day, I have a friend of mine, a very, very good devotee, Sanskrit scholar, very, very first-class devotee, who is making a study of all the commentaries of the great Vaishnava-acharyas on the Bhagavad-gītā, Ramanuja, Madhva, all these great personalities we have mentioned, Baladevi Bhusana, and analyzing all the statements that they have made on Bhagavad-gītā. Actually, during Prabhupada's lifetime, he recommended this should be done. Of course, most devotees don't have the technical knowledge of Sanskrit to do that. I surely do not. But this devotee does have the knowledge, and he's preparing this wonderful compilation of all these Acharya commentaries. This, of course, will come up in the future, and it's very auspicious for the devotional life of the devotees. And before concluding, I just want to point out that these discussions we have here, we're not against any group or any organization or any society. That is not the idea here that Vishwakarma Prabhu and myself and Nilesh and everybody here. What we're trying to point out is do not change and concoct bogus interpretations of Prabhupada's teachings. This is a very dangerous trend that we have seen. And Prabhupada discusses this in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam of what happens when the Acharya departs. I'm going to read one small section. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 48. Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 48, the next to last paragraph. Unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of the so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. Actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord, and this is stated in Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 9, text 34. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam eveshyasi yuktvevam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me and become my devotee. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. And here come a very important paragraph. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord, and to bow down before him. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles, but when he disappears, things again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogue and non-devotees. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. Very important. I just want to point out that we don't claim to be perfect disciples, but we are trying to become good, sincere, perfect disciples. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, for your wonderful explanation of today's verse and purport from the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is. And Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport that it is one of the most important verses in the Bhagavad-gītā to understand bhakti yoga, devotional service, and the purpose of life. And misinformation, I thought it was interesting that you made the comment that we're not against any group. No. We're not after any particular person. No. What we are concerned about is misinformation. Because when people take up the process of devotional service and misinform people on the truth of the matter in terms of parampara, in terms of disciplic succession, then this is a great disservice to humanity. And this must be stopped, no question. You spoke about, excuse me, you spoke about mental speculation and Sripati, explaining to you about mental speculation. I also served with Sripati Prabhu for a few years in Toronto. He was there, he came, and he was a wonderful kirtan leader and added to the great combination of devotees that were there that knew how to deliver the holy name in the kirtan. But the point is this: mental speculation is going on at a high level in the ISKCON group. Prabhupada said, and we've mentioned this over and over, there is no, he was questioned, oh, you've created all these miracles. He goes, no, miracles I do not know. But if there's only one thing, I have not changed anything. That is the miracle. Change, the change disease. That's the business, especially of these American disciples he initiated, especially them, thinking they're so smart, they're going to change everything. Don't change one word, not in his books. And don't change the way you speak. Don't make up things. This is mental speculation. And this, Nilesh, is called bridge preaching. Have you heard of that? Bridge preaching? What is bridge preaching? What is it here? Read this for us, Nilesh. Read it. What you put up there.
I just kind of did a chat GPT search on Srila Prabhupada and mental speculation. The concluding marks, according to AI, artificial intelligence, is for Srila Prabhupada, mental speculation was a flawed approach to spiritual understanding because it is based on a limited capacity of the material mind. He strongly advocated for the following the wisdom of the scriptures and the teachings of a bona fide spiritual master to achieve genuine spiritual realization. Rather than trying to understand the supreme truth through one's own mental reasoning, one should cultivate humility and faith and seek knowledge from the transcendental source, Krishna, through the proper spiritual channel.
Yes, the proper spiritual channels is our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So don't change anything. Here we see there are some godbrothers of ours. This one fellow in Silicon Valley. Oh yeah. the new Tony Robbins. And he's giving these motivational talks, all concocted. He's quoting Shastra and scripture to justify the truth, because the Shastras are deep in truth, but it's misinformation. And what is the goal? Make more disciples, improve my social or spiritual position in this world. And this way he lives in the world of illusion. If you change anything, that is a mistake. So we should always, I've always been a fan, Nilesh, of public speaking. Even at the university, I took courses in it. But the main way to speak properly is to just memorize, study the scripture, study the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, and simply repeat what he says, his analogies. Prabhupada is, for me, the greatest public speaker of all time. Do you like to associate with people that are expert, Nilesh? Or do you want to associate with people that are stupid? No. We want to associate with people that are the most expert. That's what people are about. We always want to be surrounded with the greatest people possible. And we are very fortunate, especially us who got the personal association of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, in the past, that was a blessing. We're still getting the association in his Vani incarnation. He's living with us. And that association is the most inspiring, the most enlivening. Not to be around a bunch of stupidos who just make things up, mental speculation. And then they take on the role of Diksha Guru. We are not interested in that. We do have a system. I'll just mention it briefly, because some people were questioning me this week about it. Well, how come you're deciding this and that about initiations? Well, we have rules and regulations. We qualify people. If they're not qualified, why should they take initiation? Why? What's the point? They take initiation for a year and then they leave and go on their own again. They're not serious. And we want to make sure that they follow the 4 regulated principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex life, no gambling, including mental speculation. We want them also to attend our classes. Well, why do you want that? Well, how are you going to understand this philosophy of Guru Tattva if you don't come to our classes? Because we teach it here. Oh, but your classes are boring. I've heard that. Oh, you don't preach according to Prabhupada's plan. Well, how do you know, Mr. Bhakta, neophyte? Did you ever sit in a Bhagavad-gītā class and hear Prabhupada speak? Like Yaśodā has heard Prabhupada speak hundreds of times. And some of us have heard Prabhupada speak personally hundreds of times. How do you know what Prabhupada wants to say? How he should be presented? So, we want people to come to the classes. And in this way, we also want them to commit some service to our mission. Not just be off on their own, wander around in this material world on your own. Sure, you can go on your own. That's okay. That's your right. That's your privilege. We have independent free will. But if you want to get the mercy of the spiritual master, you have to become servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. In this way, you'll become great. Prabhupada told me that personally, and I won't repeat the story, but when I got initiation, when they said my name, he said, but you should not think you're the chief engineer, but the servant of the servant of the servant of the chief engineer. In this way, you become great. And that is the message for everyone. If you work together cooperatively, this is how you'll demonstrate your love for me. Don't concoct. Not go off on your own like another boat out into the ocean with this guru, that guru, opening hospitals, running food programs that are serving all kinds of untouchables, not concocting everything, simple. Krishna consciousness, the life of Krishna karma, as was mentioned in the verse today. Life should be simple. Nowadays, life has become so complex, unfortunately. And people are suffering because of that. And our mission is to help them understand that despite how complex things are, you can find happiness in hearing and chanting about the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the bona fide spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. So we do want people to become disciples. Yes, we do. And if they're interested, they can submit their schedules. They can chant their rounds every day. They can pass examinations and tests that we'll be giving. And we can judge by that association how they're serious and strict in this process of devotional service and qualify themselves to become official Prabhupada disciples. I asked someone recently, how did you become a Prabhupada disciple? And the person told me, well, I had a dream. Oh, you had a dream. And what happened in the dream? And she says to me, well, I had a dream and Prabhupada came to me in the dream and gave me my name. And this way I became a Prabhupada disciple. I was talking to another friend of hers and she had given him a different explanation. So we're not really sure how she's become a Prabhupada disciple, but she thinks she is. Is she? Well, you can think whatever you want. That's okay. But are you? No. There is a formal initiation, and there is a process for qualifying a person to become a disciple. And we will be happy to work with people that are serious. Otherwise, you can be a follower. That's okay. Some people are not aware. We were reading in the Gita, you have to have a pessimistic view of this material world in order to get out. But if you're not pessimistic about this, if you're not serious about getting out because you think, well, there's something here for me in this world, I can become famous or rich or whatever, then that's your choice. But if you're serious, we are welcoming everyone to join us in this journey of Krishna consciousness on the transcendental boat of deliverance with the captain of the ship, A.C., His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. No bridge preaching, no fake gurus, no changed books, nothing. If you want that, come to us. If you want this other stuff, go to them. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please, if you could further elaborate.
We're raising some very important points. In 1972 in Vrindavan, in October, late October, beginning of November, there was the series of Nectar of Devotion lectures. In one of those lectures, Srila Prabhupada said, when you read the Nectar of Devotion, you are directly associating with Rupa Goswami, unquote. Now, somebody may say, well, Rupa Goswami is not here now, but the point Prabhupada is trying to say, he is present in his book. He's present in his teaching. Same thing with the Bhagavad-gītā. In 1968 in Montreal, Srila Prabhupada was asked the question, well, how do we, have association with you when you're not here? And Prabhupada said, just like the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna is not here, but Krishna is present in his book, the Bhagavad-gītā. Krishna is also present in his book, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, some people who are too absorbed in the physical vapuvad, body conception of life, have a very great difficulty understanding the difference between Vani and Vapu and how it actually works. Trying to see here what you have here. I don't think it's that letter. It's a different letter. Anyway, the point is that the association with the spiritual master is not dependent only on physical association. Physical association is there. It's like Prabhupada one time was explaining to Brahmananda Swami in Africa that he is present in his murti. He is present in his picture. So those who are intelligent and faithful to the Acharya and his teachings, they will understand this. Those who are not faithful and are engaged in mental speculation will not understand this. And we have to be very careful because some people do not comprehend the philosophy and mislead others. This is a very dangerous trend that we're seeing of people who want to emphasize their own physicality, self-aggrandizement, self-promotion, and minimize the position of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, here we go. Prabhupada says, but in this life, if we develop Krishna consciousness by association of devotees, as Narottam Das Thakur's son, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas, one's aim of life should be to serve the acharyas, acharya upasanam. So our acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Sri Rup Sanatan Bhattaragunath, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaragunath, the 6 Goswamis, and if we associate with them, this book, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you read regularly, try to understand this means you're associating with Srila Rupa Goswami directly. And if you act accordingly, then you are serving their lotus feet. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhaktasanebas. And unless you're associated with devotees, you will not be able to understand the import of the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. So this is a very important point. When we have this Sangha and this association 3 times a week, and we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada describing the teachings of Rupa Goswami, describing the teachings of the great Acharya, that is direct association with Srila Prabhupada and these great Acharyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, this is the idea, is association. It's like a crystal stone. It reflects whatever you come in contact with it. So in the same way, we associate with like-minded devotees, and we have a very nice devotee in Montreal. I don't want her to be disturbed, but I'd like her to speak a bit on her realizations of today's class. Mother Rochisha, who is a sincere devotee of Prabhupada's, has been a devotee since she was 16 years old in Montreal. And she was at the Montreal temple and worshiped the deities back there when she was 16. And now she's here with us on today's program. Mother Rochisha, maybe you could share a few realizations on today's class with our membership. Hare Krishna.
I cannot speak today.
Oh, she's not feeling well.
My voice is...
That's okay. You're listening, and that's all that's important.
Always.
We'll go to thank you very much.
Next time.
Yes, next time, Mother. Thank you. Neil Sharma, maybe you have a question for Yaśodā-nandana.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. You know, it's interesting that Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was talking about this person who is trying to compile all the different, interpretations of the different acharyas. And here there is a website. If you want, everybody can look at it. It's already existing over there. It is called Bhagavad-gītā .us. And if you look at this, I'm sharing it, is that you can see that starting from Bhagavad-gītā 1.1, the commentary by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, his commentary is written. Then the commentary of Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and then commentary of Sri Ramanuja of Sri Sampradaya, and then Sri Sridhar Swami of Rudra Sampradaya, and of course the Madhvacharya Brahma Sampradaya also. So he puts in Sri Keshava Kashmiri of Kumar Sampradaya, and to kind of complicate more, he puts in even Adi Shankaracharya, you know, and Abhinav Gupta of Kaula Tantra Sampradaya. So this is just for your information that there is information out there. It is amazing that the internet is so, full of different informations. But instead of going through that, if we were to just follow Srila Prabhupada, just follow the Acharya, that as we mentioned, that Acharya Upasana. The Upasana is following in the instructions or serving their message. And if we were to serve it, the very first step is got very clearly. And if we miss that very first step, no matter what subsequent steps you do, I may be the best devotee, the best stuff. But if I'm not following the proper Acharya, all these efforts are becoming what? Shrama eva hi kevalam. You see, it is becoming nothing but just labor. So it's very important that these topics, what we are discussing, and the reason why I bring up all these quotations is because, number one, to prove to everybody who is here in this particular congregation is that whatever Vishwakarma Prabhu is speaking, whatever Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu is speaking, is correlated to Prabhupada's books, the original books. So the purpose of understanding the spiritual knowledge is to see the transparency of the message. Nobody is putting on their own interpretations or tainting. Like if you were to do the chat GPT, let me show you that also. Give me 1 second. Let me show you what I pulled up in chat GPT about what is called bridge preaching. Look at this. What ISKCON is talking, to outreach to the Western audience, adapting Krishna consciousness to modern life, Bhagavad-gītā and modern science. There is nothing different. Prabhupada has got everything in there. Youth and family-oriented bridge preaching. So this nonsense keeps going on and on. But if we were to scrutinizingly study this, and so whatever Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu is speaking, it is there in the Prabhupada's books. And whatever Prabhupada is speaking is there in the Vedic sciences. And it is there in the Parampara system. So why go through this whole process? Just follow simply Srila Prabhupada's books scrutinizingly. Because you may go through all these different tangents and you'll come to the same conclusion which Prabhupada has already told us. So we will not waste a lot of unnecessary time, because in this day and age of Kali Yuga, time is of an essence. We have very little time, and plus as things are getting more expensive, we are spending more and more time in maintaining our lifestyles and stuff like that. So if this is the problem, we need to stick to Srila Prabhupada's original versions, and that will suffice in all our endeavors. That is what part is. I have a question for Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. We read in the beginning of this particular verse which we discussed that we should give up all kinds of designations. You see, America just finished with a very important election year, and many a times, even to practice proper Krishna consciousness, we need to have a nice, safe environment. You see, imagine if we don't have a safe political environment, how can we even practice proper Krishna consciousness? So many a times we have to extrapolate ourselves, even as devotees, to ensure that a certain political environment is created which is going to be favorable for us to propagate this Krishna consciousness. Please give us your opinion and your what you call tika on it, as whether my thought process is right or not, and what corrections need to be done.
Well, basically, when Prabhupada refers to different interpretations or different, what he called designations, this refers to material designations in the material world that everybody is very entangled with. In other words, in the material world, under materialistic conception of life, everybody thinks that they're the body and everything related to the body is so important. But that is from a spiritual perspective, the incorrect perspective, a defective perspective. In other words, all these designations that we're American, we're Indian, we're Polish, Mongolian, German, we're men, women. It's just like, let me give you an example. Recently, there's a lady, a devotee lady, and she asked me, oh, why is it that Prabhupada says this and that about women, and Prabhupada says this and that about such and such race and such and just gender group? And my first point is, you're not a woman. You're not a man. That is not your identity. Your real identity is you're a spirit soul. Prabhupada used to often quote, Aham Brahmasmi, that you are Brahman, you are eternal spirit soul. But under the influence of Maya or illusion, we think that this temporary life, this temporary designation, in Sanskrit called upadi, that this is so important. There is so many misconceptions, all based upon this illusory conceptions of life. And by the mercy of the spiritual master, these designations, one can understand things in the correct and the proper perspective, that we're eternally spirit soul. I mean, the famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita is there, Jiva Surupaya Nitya Krishna Das, that our real constitutional position is to be eternal servant of Krishna. And all of these different designations, and I know that some people take offense of this, thinking I'm Canadian, I'm American, I'm Russian. And this is the root cause of all the problems in the world. Because from there, they start to think, well, this is my land, this belongs to me. But what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad-gītā? Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. That God, Krishna, is the owner of everything in the world, everything. Nothing belongs to us. We come here with nothing. We will leave with nothing. So under the influence of Maya, it's interesting that in Sanskrit, the word Maya has two different meanings. One is illusion. Ma means not. Ya means this, illusion. Another meaning, which is explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport in the second canto, is Maya means mercy. And it is the mercy of the spiritual master to remove that Maya illusion, to remove that misconception from the minds and misunderstanding of the follower and bona fide disciple. I hope it helps. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And we want to thank everyone, really, that's coming out to these programs. And remember, there's Maya up on the explanation there on the screen for you to read while we're talking. We want to thank you for being a part of this. It's giving strength to our group. Prabhupada, if you noticed in the diaries, he was recording how many people were joining the class back in 1966. He was saying recently in today's reading that he noticed that it was 21 people. So we always look to see, of course, our main goal is to record these classes and put them up online in our YouTube channel. And you can go to the YouTube channel, Hare Krishna Society, subscribe, and get other people to subscribe and attend the classes there at their convenience. If they can't be here at a certain time due to time restrictions, these classes are available to them on the YouTube channel. Yes, Prabhu, you got your hand up? Nilesh?
Yes, Prabhuji, I just wanted to remind everybody for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
So that way that we get more and more people involved. We have to try one more time, one more session of worldly with the artificial intelligence. As we say is, Prabhupada always says to utilize everything which is there in this material world in the service of Krishna consciousness. So we are trying to utilize this artificial intelligence also as a live translation so that language does not be a barrier for us to spread the word of the pure word of Srila Prabhupada. So please invite your friends, please invite. There are about 51 languages. You can go onto the worldly website. I'll put it up in the chat. And so you can familiarize yourself and have many people come in and let's get a feedback, whether it is worth it, not worth it, because it does inquire a lot of Lakshmi, but we are using the Lakshmi in propagating the word of Sri Krishna. So in the word of Lord Narayan. So we are using her in the service of Lord Narayan. So I request everybody to join in larger numbers of every different background, any language, and let's try to make this this mission we spread as much as possible. Hare Krishna.
Excellent. Yeah. So tomorrow you can speak at the beginning of the program and explain to everyone how to hook up with the software and get this opportunity in Italy or wherever you are in the world, you want a particular language to have it translated into instead of English. Thank you again, everyone. It was a pleasure to be part of this group. I find it very blissful. Satchidananda. There is bliss and happiness, very much so, even in the association of devotees on a Zoom call. It's very, very positive for all of us. And we invite you, of course, to come tomorrow for the program, and next week, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, as we march on into eternal time. We're going to move forward now with the chanting of Hare Krishna, led by Srila Prabhupada. Back in 1966, it lasts 2.5 minutes out of our 168 hours a week. So chant along with Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll have our closing remarks. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in a program. Nilesh Chandra Prabhu in Miami, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Vishwakarma Prabhu in, I don't know what the name of that place is, but in Mexico somewhere. Rochisa Mataji in Montreal, Canada, and everybody who participated and nicely attended. We humbly suggest that you come back tomorrow morning at 7:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to, I don't know, what time is it in Mexico? 2 hours ahead?
We're at 9 o'clock here, Prabhu. 9
Okay.
o'clock in the morning.
Right now, it's 8:41 in California, so it's almost the same
It's
time.
Yotapek. It's called this region is called the place of eternal spring.
Oh, very good.
And we're at Casa Goloka.
That's like Goloka Vrindavan.
It's feeling pretty good here despite the material situation we're all in. Haribo.
Very nice. So join everybody tomorrow morning, and we look forward to see you for some other enlivening discussions and participation in hearing the great, powerful Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, all glories to His Divine Grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
By the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.